Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public service announcement. For regular viewers and listeners of AWI Pod, please do not be offended, as this program contains good wrestling.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of A Cup of UK Harris. This is the 12th episode of this show that we do here. I am your host, Brent Piles, and as you know, I can't do these by myself because I probably wouldn't sound very good at all. It's my tag team partner at GA Wrestling Nut, Glenn Abbott. Glenn, how you doing?
Not too bad, thank you.
That's right.
Better than I have been, and unfortunately, I'm back to work Sunday.
Oh, well, just when you start to feel a little better, Glenn, they drag you back down, don't they?
No, I need to get out of the house, really.
I was going to say, you're probably getting a little stir crazy now,
Yes.
aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
See, like, working sucks and all right, but, like, if we didn't go to work, we'd be like, man, I wish I had something to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But people that have lots of money and say, oh, I need to work. But if you've got lots of money, all that means is you lack imagination.
Right.
If money was no object, I could find a million things to do.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the things that I would think to do probably wouldn't be good for my liver. Like, oh, it's 8:45. Fuck it, we're rich. Let's have a cocktail. That's how I feel.
Yeah. There's cocktail hour somewhere in the world.
Everywhere. And if not, we'll get on the jet. We'll fly to that part of the world and we'll start drinking right now. That's what I would do, Glenn.
Talk everywhere.
So there was a movie called Arthur, and I believe I saw the remake of it with Russell Brand. I didn't see the Dudley Moore version, right? Dudley Moore was in that movie.
Brilliant, yeah.
So I saw the version with Russell Brand, and I thought that was really funny too. And I think it's just because I find Russell Brand hilarious because I find all British people hilarious because everything you guys say is so fucking funny. Like you just tell me the most normal thing in the world, and I'm gonna laugh my ass off because you said it in a British accent.
I know.
Yeah, I know you do, man. I know you do. But anyway, I imagine my life would be a lot like that if I was like a trust fund baby. That's a lot what my life would be like, a lot like Arthur's.
Yeah.
Dead by 45, so it's probably good that I didn't grow up with a lot of money. So, but anyway, Glenn, we're going to talk about some guys who may or may not have grown up with a lot of money. I don't know their background or their history, but it's some Heritage Cup matches, Glenn, and we got a couple of doozies this week, didn't we?
We certainly did. Sad though, isn't it? We've only got one more week.
I think it's two more.
Is it two more?
I could be wrong on that, but I believe we've got 4 more matches left. Let me look at my list here. Yes. After this one, we've got 4 more matches left. So we got 2 more.
2 more weeks.
Yep, we got 2 more weeks of this one. I'm a little bit sad about that too, Glenn, because as you know, I came into NXT UK really late. You and Jeremy talked me into it, listening to Piece of Business.
Mm-hmm.
And I really miss NXT UK, and doing this show with you kind of like brought me back into it again. And so it's kind of sad to see it getting pulled away again, especially when you watch like all the storylines that they're setting up between this and you know the end's coming. You're like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, especially over the next couple of weeks. There's certain things that happen quickly, which shouldn't have happened quickly.
Yeah, unfortunately. And we never got to find out who Tiger Teray was, Glenn. We never found out.
It's one of those life's mysteries, like who is Mr. America? We will never know.
That's true. That's just something we'll never figure out. But also, right now it's Friday. We're recording this a little bit late, and you're going to get it a little bit late. And tonight we're going to be watching more of WrestleMania 9. And so I went and I looked at like just to see like how much time is left in all the matches that we have to watch. And no spoiler alert, but the Narcissist Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect match gets 10 minutes and 56 seconds. So that's going to be brutal.
Oh,
why? Why does it have that much? Anyway, Glenn, let's talk about a match that wasn't brutal. It was a Heritage Cup Championship match. It's the former champion A-Kid against the current champion Noam Dar. I mean, I think we can both agree on this. These guys are the two best Heritage Cup competitors in NXT UK history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And let's hope that somewhere down the line, Noam Dar gets a chance to have a Heritage Cup match against Axiom, because I think Axiom would be pretty good as well.
Yeah, I think Axiom would do well. I mean, he looks like a guy who would do good British rounds matches. I remember Nathan Frazier trying to explain to Axiom what a British rounds match was one time in NXT UK, which
see,
puzzled, but
see, they've been teasing this thing with those two, that it may well, because Nathan Fraser's a champion at the moment.
Yeah,
that it might end up with Axiom.
Yes, he's not the same person.
No, definitely not. So not A-Kid at all. Axiom takes the title off of him, and then Noam Dar gets the chance to get the title back off of Axiom. Hopefully, that's my prayer anyway. I'll send that out into the ether and see what happens.
That sounds like fun. They should add that to the Great American Bash card on Sunday, which we will have some Great American Bash picks coming out on Sunday morning too, with our newest episode of Mayor Superstar. So if you're looking for that, give us a listen on Sunday. All right, Glenn. So first round, not a lot to note in the first round. A lot of real filling out process, lots of mat wrestling, submission, and transitions in the first round.
Yeah, that was my note. Usual feeling out process, perpetual motion from both. Bars, headlocks, just keeping it rolling around and
perpetual motion is probably the best way to describe that round there, Glenn. Way to go. Great. That's why I have a British guy on this show to eloquently describe things like that. My toothless Nebraska self could never. Anyway, so we get into the second round, and they really got right back into the mat wrestling in the second round.
I love this because they go straight back into all the technical stuff until A-Kid gets Noam into a headlock, and then Noam, being Noam, breaks his eye. Oh no, stuck his fingers up his nose or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
his nose. Cheated his way out of it, and there's all this wonderful technical wrestling, and he had to cheat.
Well, yeah, I mean, he is Noam Dar. That is what he does. Today is his birthday as well, Glenn. So it's very timely that we're doing this.
That from the NXT UK picture guy.
Yeah, so if you let's give them a shout out, because I mean, if you like this show, then you probably like NXT UK. So give NXT UK Pics a follow on Instagram. On Twitter, they post a lot of really good pictures from NXT UK. Gives me the feels when I see them, Glenn. So yeah, give them a follow if you don't. Great Twitter account. But yeah, so Noam Dar then really he's trying to wear A-Kid down. He's landing some stiff kicks to the already injured ribs of A-Kid. He's got them all taped up. And Nigel McGuinness is like, I would never do something like that because that's just a big
target
on your ribs. Even though I'm pretty sure I've seen Nigel McGuinness wrestle some matches in some shoulder braces or something like that. So
probably.
But yeah, so A-Kid gets a near fall with a bridge pin attempt. Dar's able to escape. A-Kid lands a huge drop kick. We got a really fun end. I like the way this round ended. It was really, really fun.
It was crazy. It was basically Noam Dar went for the kick, and A-Kid just sat on the ropes, and he went straight through.
Yeah. He crashes all the way to the floor, and my favorite part is the bell rings and Dar's crash on the floor, and A-Kid gives him the pinkies like Noam Dar likes to do. With that was really good. And that's how the round ends. Yeah, a really interesting end to the round. And that's what the funnest thing about these matches are, is the ends of the rounds are usually so well done. I mean, sometimes it just ends out of a normal thing, but some of them are so well done like that. And it builds more to the story in the match, you know what I mean? And so we head into the third round, and Glenn, they weren't fucking around this round, were they? They came out throwing.
Yeah, they were definitely throwing. It's good old fashioned kicks and punches that you expect from any NXT UK match.
Yeah, they definitely got into the super physicality of the match during this round. Dar catches A-Kid on the apron. He pulls him into the ring like he's gonna do like that Randy Orton sort of like DDT from the second rope, but instead he just drops A-Kid. A-Kid catches himself with his hands, and then Dar hauls off and just kicks him right in the chest.
Yeah.
Which, because when he pulled him in, I was like, well, what's he going to do from here? And then he drops him, and I'm like, well, why did you drop him? And then he just kicked his shit out.
Yeah. Volleyed him on the way down.
Yeah, it was like he was trying to put one in the back of the net. Yeah. Yeah, some really good strikes from Dar in this round. Dar goes for a Nova Roller, but A-Kid blocks it. And when A-Kid sticks his hands up to go for the block, Dar immediately takes out the leg, and then he's able to hit the Nova Roller, and he does get the pin. And Noam Dar with an early lead. Usually we see him down in these matches, so it's interesting when you get to see him with a lead. And then we head into the fourth round.
Yes. A-Kid trying to get the Uma Plata on.
Yep.
He's getting Dar down and trying to... Dar's fighting for his life, basically. Well, he beautifully countered it into a roll-up that got a 2 count.
Mm-hmm.
Until you see that he was actually holding A-Kid's tights.
Of course he was. Of course he was. Yeah, A-Kid goes for a dive out of the ring too, and of course Shaw Samuels on the outside pulls Dar right out of the ring, and A-Kid just crashes right into the barricade.
Perfect timing. Well, he wiped out Shaw as well.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't hit the barricade. He hit Shaw. Shaw moved him, and he knocked Shaw down. That's right. Then A-Kid almost is counted out, but he makes it in right at the count of 9. He then eats a big back elbow from Noam Dar, but that only gets a 2 count, which in my notes I wrote only gets a 3 count, as if you had to get a 5 count, so that's not right. A-Kid then is able to hit a springboard reverse DDT for the 3 count, and that also means that that Shaw Samuels has lost his bet, and they tell us that he put his grandmother's house up, so he's lost his grandmother's house, Glenn.
And it's not going to get any better for him, is it?
No, he's not going to learn his lesson.
Spoilers.
That was one of my favorite parts in between the rounds. He's going, "Oh, what have you done to me? What have you done?"
Unfortunately, unless I think no, it's too much work. Because I was thinking a lot of the story at Shaw Samuels between now and the end wasn't actually within. Although that it was all caused by the Heritage Cup.
Right.
A lot of it were week-to-week things.
Yeah, that was a really well-told story, and we'll talk about it when we get to the very last match of this show. But yeah, it was an awesomely told story of Shaw Samuels losing everything. So we head to the 5th round, and now we are all tied up 1-1. A-Kid hits it wasn't like a superplex. It was like a fall away suplex from the top rope. And in a match like this, though, Glenn, that only gets a 2 count.
Yeah. Yeah. This was a strange round. It was very quick. 3 minutes just seemed to go nowhere.
Yeah.
There was a lot of near falls. Obviously, because they were selling it in the commentary of the jeopardy of the next fall wins it.
Right.
And it was a great bit of storytelling, but the reason I was waffling is because I couldn't keep up with my notes.
Oh, well, yeah. This was one of those rounds where there was a lot of transitions, there was a lot of submission reversals, there was a lot of pending reversals, and when you get a round like that, it's hard to sit here and try to write out notes for submission transitions and pin reversals. It just isn't easy to do.
Yeah, that's what I put. My notes were good transitions between submission holds and a big German suplex from A-Kid that launched Noam across the ring.
Yeah, I really did. That was a beautiful German suplex. Yeah. I wrote basically the same thing. Both guys did a lot of great submission transitions in this round. It was a lot of fun, and it was a really good round. But like I said, some of these are just hard to take notes on because they are so good.
Yeah.
And so we head into the 6th and the final round. Both guys open up the final round just unloading uppercuts, European uppercuts on each other, one after the other, one to the other, one to the other, back and forth.
Well, it's like the final round in a boxing match where everything's really tight and it both come out swinging for this.
Yep. A-Kid does a dive out of the ring and he takes out Shauna Samuels on the outside. A-Kid then locks in a heel hook, but Dar is able to get to the ropes. Dar hits one of his big back elbows. But only gets a 2 count now that we're down to just 1 minute left. Which I think if I'm Noam Dar, I would have just rolled out of the ring and ran around the ring as fast as I could, sliding in and out. But that's not what he did.
No. Yep, there was a flying super kick from A-Kid. He so went like a missile.
Yeah, and it was at the time like Dar was running at him for a Nova roller, and then like out of nowhere, it was just like pow! He kicked the shit out of him. And the precision on those flying kicks by A-Kid, he's just so goddamn good. And that kid's like, he's 25 years old?
Yeah.
That's insane. It's insane. With 30 seconds left, the guys start trading punches. Dar goes for a roll-up, but A-Kid is able to transition into the Umapalata, but he's not able to lock it in all the way until there's only about 8 seconds left on the clock, and then Dar never taps. The match ends.
3, 2, 1, and we get our first draw in Heritage Cup history.
And that's right. And if the championship is on the line, then that means that this ends in a draw, and Noam Dar will retain the Heritage Cup championship. And Glenn, these guys facing each other in a Heritage Cup championship, it only could have ended in a draw. It had to be a draw.
Yeah. No, it's 1 and 1A, as you say, of the Heritage Cup. So there's nothing between them. Draw's a fair result.
Absolutely. And if we did like a power ranking of these matches, that match is probably going to land in my top 3, I would think.
Yeah.
Where it's going to end when it's all said and done. We got a next match, a little bit of a flavor, same Noam Dar, but we get a different opponent. It's Mr. Joe Coffey from or Kofi, as they say on NXT now, I think is what they call him. He's looking very unkept lately, isn't he, on NXT?
He's
locked in a trunk?
Sorry?
Was he locked in a trunk?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Stacks.
Yeah, when Tony D'Angelo was locked up, but he's not anymore, right?
Okay,
all right. Usually mob bosses do a little more than 4 months in jail. Anyway, what do I know about it?
It all came out that it was Gallus that was stitched him up.
Oh, goddamn fucking snitches. Anyway.
They had to admit to it because Stacks beat Coffey.
That's usually how the mob settles things, Glenn. They're usually like, that guy's a snitch, so we're going to wrestle him in a wrestling match, and if he wins, we're going to tell the truth. That's usually how that goes. You've seen The Godfather, right?
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Well, they tried it the other way, didn't they? To start with.
Yeah.
That's,
anyway, we don't have any silly mob gimmicks in this show.
No, definitely not.
So the round 1 starts, and of course, Joe Coffey is using his power and size advantage, kind of like throwing Dar around. And it seemed like Dar was trying to do all of his underhanded tactics that he could do, but it seemed like everything that he tried to do, Joe Coffey had an answer for.
Yeah, he blocked everything.
Yeah. He really did. So you got back and forth around a little bit. Joe Coffey is going for a Boston Crab at the end, and then Noam Dar's trying to stay out of it, and that's kind of how the first round ends.
I'm sure I spotted this. Joe Coffey at one point actually did a cartwheel.
He did. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
No, I thought I didn't dream that.
I mean, these matches have taken
So-
strange places, which even Joe Coffey doing a goddamn cartwheel. Who would have thought it?
So yeah, he suddenly turned into a cruiserweight.
Goddamn, pal. Yeah. Round 2 starts. Dara's still trying to play the mind games, but it is not working on Joe Coffey. He is not playing the mind games with Noam Dar.
Yep. And the whole way through, Coffey's just out muscling. Oh.
Yep.
Just getting everything. Then hits him with a Glasgow send off and gets the first fall, which we're back to normal where Noam goes one down.
Yeah, we're back to what we're used to. And I'm glad I got that right, Glenn, because I wrote down he hits him with what I think is called a Glasgow send off, and I got it right. So
yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Calling moves isn't my forte. Anyway. Also, I noticed between rounds that Mark Coffey's got a bucket, and I think he might be the first Heritage Cup cornerman I've seen with a whole bucket.
Yeah.
That's usually something you see in boxing, but
yeah, that's a traditional thing with in the old days of wrestling seconds.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Which we may get into seeing some of that with some Les Kellner, right?
Les Kellner. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, so Joe is keeping up the pressure on Dar to open this part of the round. Joe hits it's an impressive, like, it's like a springboard cross body block. He like bounced on the middle rope, the top rope, and then flew over on him. He's just like a cruiserweight, Glenn.
Yeah, he is. He is. But he receives a few stiff kicks to their head for his trouble. So Brent decided it's better not to do all that flippy shit.
Yeah, definitely. Shar Samuel's also able to get Joe Coffey's attention when he's up on the apron, and then that's when Dar lands a couple of kicks to the head. He goes for a cover, but Joe is able to kick out. But when he kicks out, Dar just kind of rolls right into the knee bar. But Joe is able to fight his way out of that. But then Dar is going to land some more severe head kicks to Joe Coffey, and then he's going to roll him up and use a little bit of the tights, of course, and get the 1-1 tie going into the fourth round.
We go into the fourth round with more kicks.
Yep.
Round off with more kicks from Dar. He decided that that's. But if you think about it, if you're being out muscled by somebody, your leg is a lot better. It's a lot better trying to kick somebody than trying to punch somebody because the range, you're increasing range a bit better.
When you're fighting a bigger guy, the best thing you can do is keep him on the outside of you.
Yeah.
And if you're throwing kicks at his legs and his body, that's probably the best way to go, and that's what Dar was doing in this round. It makes perfect sense. Dar then really just started like punishing Joe Coffey with landing stiff kicks and elbows. But then Joe was able to use his power to fight back. He landed a big overhead suplex.
He actually no-sold a couple of the forearms and kicks. So it stood there and then picked Noam up and chucked him with a big belly to belly over his head.
Yeah.
Not one of those sort of little sideways things. It was a big over the top.
Yeah, there was no sideways about this. He went all above his head, yes. Noam Dar saw the top of Joe Coffey's head as he flew over top of him. Yes. The two end up eventually on the outside of the ring, and they're just trading punches for the last 15 seconds. And then Shah is grabbing Dar to pull him away, and then Mark's grabbing Joe. And Dar just lands off a real stiff kick after the bell rings right to Joe's liver.
Of course he does.
Yeah, as we've seen before from this, from that man, he right to the liver too. Perfectly. And Joe is really hurting after this.
Yes, it would do.
Right.
Liver and kidney punches aren't allowed in boxing for a reason. A stiff kick to it.
Yeah. So yeah, Joe is like really suffering in the corner here, and Dar comes flying out of the ring. He's flying out of the corner. He's landing some big kicks. He goes for a Nova roller, but Joe just headbutts him instead. Just full force headbutt right to the face as he's coming in. So that was something.
Yeah, I still Joe's no selling everything that.
Oh yeah.
Basically, he did everything but the Hogan finger wave at him.
Yeah. He didn't hit the big boot, but yeah, everything else he did.
Mm.
He also then hit a big clothesline from hell on Noam Dar, which I thought might have been the end of it, but of course it wasn't.
No, Shah saved him.
Yeah, he put his foot on the rub, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Mark takes Shah out.
It was cleverly done that, because obviously that was what they're planning to do. But he was out of position slightly. So first of all, Shah surreptitiously pulled him over a bit first to make sure that he could then get the foot on the rope when he needed to.
Yeah, yeah, he did have to improvise a little there, didn't he? Yeah. So then Mark Coffey comes over. He just takes out Shah Samuels. Joe Coffey goes for a pin attempt, but Dar kicks out, and then he lands a back elbow when they get back to their feet. He then hits a Nova roller, and Dar wins it with only about 10 seconds left in the round.
Yep.
And another tremendous finish to another tremendous Heritage Cup match.
Certainly is.
Definitely.
I'm glad we're not actually going to be ranking these at the end of it, because it's so hard to pick. I think we know which is our favorite.
Yeah, I was on the Apron Bump podcast, and I was telling him about the show that we do, and he asked me what my favorite one was, and I'm pretty sure I already know what it's going to be. When we get to the end of it, I might ask, what were some of your favorite ones, like 3 favorite ones, but I'm not going to rank them from 1 to 20 because
no.
Once you get past 1 through 5, you can really interchange them with each other from there on. From 6 to 22, you can really interchange each other. So.
Yeah. They're all such high quality matches. And as we always said when we watched them first time around on Piece of Business, all so different.
Yeah. Yep. They all have very clever endings, and they're never the same.
No.
Never the same. And just when you think you got it figured out, Glenn, they switch it on you. You got shit figured out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Glenn, that's going to do it for this edition. Who do we need to plug today?
Speaking of which, before we do the plugs, I think one of the matches next week is a very unpredictable one, shall we say?
I think you're right.
Involving the other Coffey brother.
I think that one might be. I don't want to spoil anything here, so yeah, we do have the other Coffey brother. You're right. So we have next week we'll have Dar defending the cup against Mark Coffey, and then we will have Charlie Dempsey against A-Kid. Now that's not a number 1 contenders match. It's not for the cup. They just had a blood feud, and they decided to settle it in a Heritage Cup match.
As you would. I forget all that no holds barred or cage matches or anything. It's a blood feud. We'll have a gentlemanly Heritage Cup match with by rounds.
If I remember from that match, well, there was nothing gentlemanly about it. It's not a damn thing. It was all pain. I'm relishing watching that match now, Glenn. I'm rubbing my hands together. If you can't see me, just relishing watching that match.
That was the one that I forgot about.
Yeah.
I said we only got a week left. It was that one that I'd forgotten about.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get a hell of a reminder.
Yeah. I'm not going to plug anything now. I'll be seeing you later, and I'll do my plugs then.
That's true. We plug them on every other show, so we don't need to. I guess we don't have to do it every time, right? But yeah, that's it. That's all. I will plug Sportswire Radio and give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow on Twitter and on Instagram and on Threads. He's on Threads. We're on Threads. I don't know how long this X gimmick's going to go on for, so join Threads if you haven't already. It's a good backup for if this thing ever implodes. That's all I'm saying.
It's getting close. It must get getting close.
I don't know. I don't know. The only thing that we now have to do is for Glenn to say goodbye.
Goodbye.